Hey there, this is Christiana on the Well-Behaved Wallet, and in honor of Thanksgiving, and because I thought we could all use a laugh, I have done some research for you and have come up with a few of what I think are some of the most hilarious Thanksgiving horror stories. So I've kind of curated them into what I think is a pretty funny list, and I am going to read them to you. So these have come from different sources, and I've tried to attribute wherever possible, and I will let you know where they come from. Sources like Reddit and BuzzFeed, and in this case, I'm going to share some of my own, and I'll let you know which ones are my own. But I'm hoping that you will find them as well kind of funny, and that they'll give you kind of a break to whatever you're doing. So I am just going to read them off to you, and without further ado, I'm going to jump right in. One. This comes from GJ Lynch 22 off of BuzzFeed. My grandma accidentally poured dish soap on the turkey instead of oil. Might have been one of the funniest but most upsetting things I've ever seen. Ford Fan 289, also from BuzzFeed, says, my brother took my 2-week-old son to check his diaper during dinner. Came back with a diaper in his hand, saying it didn't look right. He proceeded to smell it and say that something was wrong. So then he tasted it. Everyone was flipping out. Turns out, he filled a clean diaper with pumpkin pie filling. It was hilarious. An anonymous commenter says on BuzzFeed, halfway through eating, my cousin's boyfriend proposed to her in front of 40-plus family and extended family members. She said no. This one comes from Wingardium Lexiosa on Reddit. We had just moved to a new state a few months beforehand. My family was trying to make friends in our area, specifically in our church, so they invited pretty much everyone to our house for a Thanksgiving potluck and/or Thanksgiving dessert. We also had about 3 family units visiting from out of town and staying with us, about 10 extra people. So we had a large turnout, especially around dessert time. All was well and good until someone exited the bathroom and informed my parents the toilet was backed up, despite several plunging attempts. Then someone else said, it's happening in other toilets. Nothing is flushing. So the men get to work. It's nighttime, and about 10 men are all running all over the house doing their best MacGyver to solve the mystery. Nice friends, to be honest, it's the South. The mystery gang ended up outside in our backyard and are met with wet, mushy grass. Yep. Our septic tank downright exploded on Thanksgiving, with about 50 people in our house at night, with a lot of these 50 people being kids who can't control their bladders or bowels very well. The only place to go was behind our shed. We quickly set up barriers, one side for men and the other side for women. The party files out far later than you'd expect after such a hazard occurring, in bonding time still, but we still have a lot of people staying the weekend. The septic tank guys can't make it out till midday Friday, so we end up destroying the back of the shed with our post-feast blowouts by the time the toilets were working. Exploding septic tank on Thanksgiving nights and movements were had all over the backyard. And to be honest, it sounds like a memory and something they'll never forget, and some friends that they'll never lose, because once you've been through something like that, man, you're friends for life. You're bonded. My aunt was not able to come to Thanksgiving dinner one year because she was in jail for trying to shoplift a turkey from the grocery store. I heard some screaming from outside my apartment. I opened the door and saw this lady running to the dumpster with a turkey still in the pan, on fire. She threw it into the dumpster, which then caught fire. I called 911 so the fire department could put it out. Happy Thanksgiving. This one comes from Gerard Villefort on Reddit. One of my redneck uncles once came to our place, slipped the whole turkey under his jacket, then rode off on his motorcycle. On the topic of turkeys, this one comes from my own personal collection of fond Thanksgiving memories. So I taught abroad for 2.5 years in South Korea. It was an awesome time, and I really enjoyed my experience there. But I got a little homesick, and especially around the holidays, I would miss things that I had from home. So Christmas was a little bit easier because that's a big giant thing. It's different. It's a little bit more I don't want to say kid focused, but there's still the same celebrations. But Thanksgiving, because it's not a sort of global holiday, it's very specific to the US. There wasn't as much, there was no celebration there. So I kind of started to get a little bit homesick. And I was talking about it with these two girls that I happened to meet randomly, I guess kind of from our church, and they knew people on an army base. And I just mentioned, like, oh, I'm really missing Thanksgiving and my friends are getting together for Thanksgiving. And one girl starts chuckling and the other one's like, should we tell her? And I'm like, please tell me. Because we were talking about food and things that we missed, especially that you couldn't get in Korea. Because you could get many things. There was a Costco there, fully stocked Costco. You could get everything from like those hot dogs that come you get them for like $1.50, like 2 hot dogs and a soda. They had that deal. You could get so many things, but what you couldn't get was turkey, and that was what I missed. I don't, here it's not a big thing, but I missed that like once a year kind of traditional meal. And they were telling me that they had friends on an army base, and I guess on the base there's like a commissary, it's called the PX. And so they had friends there, and you could pre-order a Thanksgiving turkey. And they were all like really excited about that. So they put in their order, but something fell through with the delivery. So they had ordered these big, like the smallest size you could get was like 18 pounds. So they had this turkey on the base, but they had no way to get to the base or get the turkey to where they were, which was about, I want to say maybe 15 miles away. And because it was a U.S. Army base, the Korean cabs weren't allowed onto the base. So it wasn't like they could just take a taxi there. So what the one girl, she was very inventive, what she ended up doing was she had a bike, and that bike had a basket. So she ended up biking she got onto the base, she biked from the post from the entry to the PX, and then back again from the base, and then because she had her bike, so it wasn't like she could just like then hire a taxi, so she had to ride from the base all the way back to her apartment, which was like 15 miles away. And it was dark, so she's like, I'm riding with this 20-pound turkey in my bike basket in the dark in the middle of Korea. So I'm just like holding on, trying to keep this giant 20-pound turkey inside her bike basket. She's like, that is my Thanksgiving memory, and I will carry that with me for the rest of my life. I'm like, so now when I can just go to a restaurant or a grocery store and pick up a regular turkey, I'm like, I'm forever thankful for that regular turkey and that I can get it home without having to use a bike. So this final story comes from my family's collection of fond Thanksgiving memories. This one involves my sister. So I was 13 at the time, she was 7, and my mom had just recently separated from my dad, so she was newly single, and this was our first Thanksgiving with just 3 of us. So my mom was invited by a friend of hers to come to their Thanksgiving family meal, and a whole bunch of their family friends were going to be there, and we were excited to be going somewhere. So again, I was 14 at the time, and we were excited to have somewhere to go, so we were all dressing up. Back in my early teens, actually throughout my high school career, I was a big viewer of Masterpiece Theater. So I love those period dramas and sort of the costume and the pageantry. Like I just liked them. And my sister would sometimes watch along with me. And I was like, okay, it's Masterpiece Theater. This is a good thing for her to be watching. So in one of these dramas, an older woman uses a word to describe a younger woman. And that word is a word that's used to describe a woman who perhaps enjoys the company of men a little bit too much. That word starts with a W. Now, I'm not going to use that word. I'm going to use a word that rhymes with it. And the word I'm going to use is the word door. So, again, we were watching the show, and my sister picks up on this word. She starts saying it. She's like, door. And, we didn't think of anything of it. It's a new word. She's not heard it before, right? So she'd just been saying it. I'm like, okay. So we get all dressed up to go to Thanksgiving. We drive to the house, and it's 4 o'clock. We're sitting down to the Thanksgiving dinner, and there must have been close to, I want to say, maybe 30 people all together. Sometimes there are like kids tables for the kids to sit at, and grown-up tables. This was not the case. Everyone was all mixed in together, and it was like this great sort of family feeling. And it gets kind of, so we're eating, right? And we're like passing things around, right? And the conversation starts to lull, and it gets a little bit quiet. All of a sudden, like it's like completely quiet. All of a sudden, my sister, who's 6 at the time, bursts out with, "Christiana, you're a door," in front of 40 almost complete strangers. "Christiana, you're a door." The silence is now deafening. And all of a sudden, my friend's 90-year-old grandma sitting at the head of the table starts, you could just see her shoulders start to go. And then it's like a domino effect. Everyone at the table bursts out laughing. My poor little sister is terrified, and she starts to, she doesn't know what's going on. Like, what happened? And we are dying. I'm mortified. I just want the ground to swallow me up. Like, I don't know what to do. So my mom gets up, takes my sister, and takes her into another room and calms her down. I'm just sitting there like, nothing to see here, folks. Keep on eating. Keep it moving. Keep it moving. So crisis, passes. Everyone's, chatting. The ice is broken. Things continue. The meal goes on. Whatever, the evening draws to a close. So we're sitting in the car driving back home, and it's not that far. It's like a 5-minute car ride. My sister gets strapped in, and I guess my mother had explained to her the meaning of this word. And she stops, and she looks up at me in the car, and she goes, "Christiana, actually, you're the opposite of a door." I'm 14 years old. What do you want from me? Leave me alone. So to this day, I keep a stable of topics to talk about at Thanksgiving when I don't know anyone. I'm like, my sister does not remember this, but I remember. Oh, I remember. Yes, I do. So that is a few Thanksgiving horror stories that, hey, be glad they did not happen to you. Or maybe they did. I don't know. If you have any hilarious Thanksgiving horror stories that are now a distant memory that you can laugh at now, share them down below. Because I'm sure we could all use a chuckle this holiday season. So whatever you're up to, whatever you're doing, be sure to love those around you. Thank you for watching. And as always, I hope you'll keep watching. Thanks. Bye.